If you are applying for any consumer devices company in India like boAt or Noise, this detailed breakdown is going to be important for you. I will explain you the entire category from the Indian landscape, and you can use those numbers in different interviews whenever you apply for these kind of companies. Before moving ahead, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I share a lot of deep dive videos that can help you crack the category role interviews. Now, everyone assumes that companies like boAt or Noise operates in a market which is completely growing, but that is not true. There are some segments of the market that are in a growing phase, whereas there are some segments in the market which are at a degrowing phase. So the smart person in the interview will not just know the entire category, but will also understand how big is the category, what is the growth rate, how the category is split into different verticals, which brand lead the different verticals, and what is the future growth perspective. So that is all we are going to cover in this video. So the first part of it is basically the market size. If I talk about the market size, it is a 1.1 lakh crore market, or it can be also called as $13 billion market. Now you have to understand this is a very big market. In the last 5 years, this has grown by a growth rate of almost 13%. These numbers are of 2025, and this market covered different things like audio, there is wearables, there is charging, and then there is accessories. So these are the different verticals that is the part of this entire category. Now, once you understand the entire market size, the second thing that you have to understand is what is the split. So if I talk about that 1.1 lakh crore, so 44% is with audio, which is almost around 49,000 crores. 9% is basically the wearables, which is almost around 10,000 crores. And the rest 47% is basically your charging and accessories, which we spoke about earlier. The important thing to notice here is audio is almost 5x of wearables. Now, this is a very big number. Now, let's deep dive further into the audio vertical that we talked about. So in this there is personal audio, which is almost around 20,000 crore, and then there is large audio, which is almost around 28,000 crore. Now, large audio simply means the speakers, and the second thing is the home systems. So this is the entire category is 28,000 crores. Now, if I talk about this personal audio category, the first thing is basically your TWS, which is True Wireless System. Currently, it contributes to almost 70% of the share. Now, this number used to be almost 13% 5 years back. The second thing, almost 25%, is nothing but your neck bands plus headphones. So this contributes to almost 1/4 of this entire personal audio. And the third thing is basically your wired headphones, which is almost 5 to 6%. Now, this wired has been the major collapse in the last 5 years, and the entire market has shifted from wired to wireless, which is TWS. And this TWS is basically the biggest story of India, and boAt technically dominates this TWS category. It is the number one branded personal audio company in India. It is 26% by value and 34% by volume. And it dominates the TWS. It is the king of TWS. And boAt is also the fourth largest personal audio brand in the world. Now, quickly, let's talk about the wearables vertical, which we were discussing. So, wearables is majorly split into smart watches, which contributes to almost 93% of the share. And then the second is basically your bands plus rings, and different other small things have come up like pendants, necklace, all of that. So if I just talk about smart watches, this is nothing but almost 9,300 crore of business worth. Now the company Noise leads this category. It contributes to 27% of the business of smartwatches, and the second is boAt with around 14% contribution to the smartwatches. The third position is basically occupied by Firebolt, You might have heard of this company. It is also a growing brand in India. Now, the interesting thing about this vertical is basically that it is a shrinking market. In 2024, it degrew by 11%, whereas in 2025, it degrew by almost 4%. If I talk about smartwatches, then in 2024, it degrew by 34%, and in 2025, it degrew by 18%. So this is nothing but the degrowth, and the numbers are really big. The reason of this degrowth is basically innovation fatigue. Smartwatches are more or less similar to the traditional watches. They don't offer any exciting new features to the customers, and there are a lot of brands, operating in a similar price point, and that is the reason consumers don't prefer to go for smartwatches. So if you are applying for a company like Noise, you need to have some ideas how do you grow their wearables category. Now, to sum it up, what we discuss is basically boAt owns the audio category, which is a stable category, it is a premium category, and it is a growing category. If I talk about Noise, it basically owns the wearables category, which is currently degrowing, where smart watches has the maximum share. Now, one thing that you need to keep in mind, in India, sometimes wearables not just refers to smartwatches, rings, and bands, it also includes your earbuds. And if it includes the earbuds, then boAt will become your market leader with almost 29% of market share. Noise only lead your smartwatches. It doesn't lead in the earbuds category. So if anyone ever talks about wearables, it is important for you to clarify, does it include only smartwatches, rings, and bands, or does it also include earbuds? Because if latter is the case, then boAt is the market leader for wearables. But if that is not the case, then Noise is the market leader for wearables currently in India. Now, if I talk about the future potential, so we already discussed the current number is 1.1 lakh crore. Now it is expected to reach up to 1.8 to 2 lakh crore by 2030. In this section, if I talk about wearables, so wearables is expected to grow at the rate of 15 to 19%. And it is expected that smartwatches as a category will recover and will start showing positive growth considering urban expansion, rising income, and a lot of people preferring smart cool watches. And it is also expected that all the brands will focus on removing that innovation fatigue. They will work on bringing some exciting new features which will lure the customers to go for this smart watches category. Right now in India, only 14% of smartphone users own a premium smartwatch, whereas this number in US is almost 31%. So there is a lot of headroom for growth, and that is the bet that companies like boAt, Noise, and other consumer devices companies is placing on. So future growth story always looks optimistic, and wearables as a category is expected to become that winner for the entire consumer devices category. So in the entire video, we understood the market size, we understood the bifurcation of the overall market into different verticals, into different categories. We understood the growth rate of different categories, and we also understood which brand leads the respective categories. We also understood the growth projections for the future by the year of 2030. So that is all about this video. I have made 2 detailed courses into category management. So if you are someone who is genuinely serious about getting into category roles, you won't find this kind of content anywhere on the planet. I have made a foundation course and I have made a detailed advanced data course. The links are there in the description, so you can check it out. I have made small guides also, which you can check it out in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and let me know if you want me to cover any subsequent topic in the upcoming videos.